Sri Suresh Khatri ji, along with all our participants from Ramratna International School and teachers, educators from all across the country. I welcome you on behalf of the entire fraternity of teachers and Ramratna International School to the 64th Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. Today's topic is actually a completely different league altogether. It has never been explored or discussed. In fact, the term that Sir has used for his topic is a term coined by him. I couldn't actually find it on Google. The topic for today is NRIs and NIRs. And then there is exploration on, there's going to be an exploration on what better future India needs today. It would probably make us think a lot, introspect. Are we the kind of Indians that future India needs? And when it comes to Sir personally, he would take us through a journey of his own thoughts, his contributions, and what he thinks is the real difference that his lifetime in India is making for India. So this term, NRIs, is something that we all are aware of. But NIRs, I had to check with him to confirm that it stands for non-Indian residents. And as far as my learning and contact with Sir goes, no one would say he is a non-Indian resident. You can totally relate as an Indian to his thoughts, his ideals and philosophies. So let me give you a brief introduction of Mr. Khatri. Sir is a social worker who has been associated with initiatives of change. Many of our participants have been listening to people associated with initiatives of change and ETST. Sir is an Indian from Fiji Islands, is working as a full-time unsalaried worker with Initiatives of Change, which is an international NGO. For the last 55 years, he has been working with IOFC and doing social work in India for 38 years, now based at the Global IOFC Center at Panchgani. So I would like you to know that many of our teachers have been personally attending workshops at Panchgani Center. For those who are not versed about it, Initiatives of Change is a diverse global network committed to building trust across the world's divides. It comprises of people of many cultures, nations, beliefs, and backgrounds who are committed to transforming society through changes in individuals and relationships, starting in their own lives. Sir is also an author of Beyond Walls, and I would recommend everyone to read the book. So over to you. We are very eager to listening to you.
Thank you very much. Namaste to everyone who's taken the trouble to come and spoil 1 hour with me. I hope you can forgive me for not meeting up to the expectations of this high benchmarked forum. But I must pay tribute to Jaya Parekh for instituting this forum so that a lot of experience that is out there in the world can be made available to people. That is a commendable thing. And okay, I may be the 64th person. You can ignore what I say, but I'm sure the rest have been so far extremely valuable for you, whoever has attended these. Now, I come from Fiji Islands, but I've lived about 38 years in India, or possibly a little more. So I identify quite a bit with it. And I am in awe of India in the sense that if you look at achievements, India becomes to me the biggest experiment possibly in human history in democracy. Other democracies are, Britain is 800 and something years old, US is over 200 years old, others 100, etc. But India is only just 8 days ago we celebrated Independence Day. We entered the 75th year. So in terms of achievement, India already has to its name this considerable success using democracy for a population that has never been attempted before, the size of a population, over 1 billion. Other countries have 200 million, or Britain, I don't know how many now, but there are too many Indians have added there now. But when you look at it comparably, India has taken on an impossible task. And alongside India is China, which has adopted another method of development. And to me, of course, I wish for the Indian experiment to be successful, not just only for India, but for the sake of many other emerging countries. Can India make its model work and attractive? So that is why, as an NRI myself, I wanted to talk about the NIRs. So as you will have guessed, it really means non-Indian residents. So am I fully Indian while I'm resident here? Or am I just a Maharashtrian or a Gujarati? Of course, Gujaratis are the best that we know, because I am one. But is my mental picture that of India? Ideally, in today's world, it has to be the globe. We all have to be global citizens. But at least, do I really think of all of India as mine? And then, of course, more importantly, do I think of India, all the Indians, as my people, my brothers and sisters? And there is the biggest challenge India is facing, I believe, today. I'm speaking as an outsider and observer. And one conclusion I have come to is that hatred that is harvested from history will distort our efforts to build in the present. So, hatred that is harvested from history will distort our efforts to build in the present. Now, in the light of that, I don't know how interactive this particular, it's a Google Meet, isn't it, can be. But I would like to hear from you when somebody asks, say somebody from outside the world, outside India comes to India and asks you, what is the biggest achievement of India? What would your response be? Let's just take 15 seconds. And then I don't know how we do it, whether you'll speak up, just unmute yourself and speak, or what is best. Yeah?
Yes, sir. We can ask the participants to unmute themselves and speak up.
Okay, that'd be nice. So 15 seconds of reflection on what you think are the achievements of India. We'll take one from each one. Okay, culture and heritage, inventions, freedom of speech. Okay, that can be debated these days, isn't it? I'm being very honest. Values, diversity, rising from the shackles of slavery to the world power we are poised to be. Yes? Sorry, my eyes are not so good. Instead of diversity, I was reading obesity. Sorry.
And I would like to add resilience to it.
Resilience, yes, yes. Who else? A reporter from, say, the New York Times comes and puts his mic in front of your face and asks, what do you think is India's biggest achievement today, till today, as a democratic country? What would you say?
I feel to a large extent, all these years, we all have been living peacefully and respectfully with people from different belief systems, communities, etc. To a large extent, for a very, very long period.
Right. Very good. Very good. Lots of responses coming in the chat. Cricket unites. Festivities bring the true essence. Staying united still. Okay. So then, okay, we'll do a second. I'm afraid I'm speaking to too much teachers, and I'm a failed graduate. Not even one degree to my name. Um, can I ask, how would you rate yourself as the type of Indian, as the type of Indian future India needs, the India of today needs? Honestly rate yourself, put your number in the chat.
Yes, Nisha, out of 10.
Okay. 3. Okay. Well, Jayaji, I think you have a very humble and modest group of listeners, participants in this. I'm very touched that they're very honest. Now, while you put your number in the chat, would you then begin to think out what is needed for you to up your number? What do you need to do so that your rating on this count of 10 becomes higher for yourself? So I presume what you're putting in the chat now is what you intend to do or you should do: contribution to upliftment of our fellow Indians, cleanliness, education system, employment. Great. Contribution more to society. Yes. More focus on current environmental issues. Yes, yes. Geopolitics and economic development. Reaching out to the larger community. Now, I hope these responses you give and as you form in your own spirit, they are honest responses. But I think if things are to be different, they have to be made practical from today. What is the little action I will take in order to up my number, my rating as an Indian? So this is um, important because, as far as I have seen, the greatest tragedy throughout history has been or have been the people who, because the problems seemed so big, they did not do whatever little they could to improve things where they were. The greatest tragedy throughout history has been of those people who, because the problem seemed so big, did not do whatever little they could to improve things where they are. Now, in terms of other growth figures, just the other day I heard in 75 years of freedom, uh, the number below the poverty line came down from 90% at independence to about 26% today. And 16% literacy was there then, and that has gone up to, you will know better, many of you are teachers, but I would expect near the 90s or 80s, certainly in the 80s. And then life expectancy from 27 to 70 plus today. And then in this, now there is a young man who's going to speak also today and share from his life. And he has said some important things which I have remembered. First is, uh, he says, भविष्य के भवन को भूत के खंडहर पे निर्माण नहीं किया जा सकता. अतीत के खंडहर पर निर्माण नहीं किया जा सकता. We cannot build the edifice of the future on the ruins of the past. And equally, it relates to what I shared earlier about the hate harvested from history, which will destroy the present crop. So, as we all know, we are not born with any certificate attached to our toe. There's nothing which makes us special beyond just being born a little baby, a human being. And later we acquire degrees, and I think one of you have said your degree is just a piece of paper. It is your education that is seen in your behavior. Now, I don't know whether you have any more comments at this stage, any of you, or questions, because I promise this to be an exploration. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I have some experiences which I have synthesized and crystallized, which I will continue to share. But I would like to hear your views also. I'm not a huge UN or Amnesty International enthusiast, but as far as what I figure, I'm monitoring corporations, CSR programs, and reaching out where I can support mutually exclusive causes. Great. Any comments?
The participants, please feel free to unmute and speak up. So I think you have put everyone in the quiet time mode. All are introspecting.
Great. Well, if silence will do 90% of the work and 10% of my blabbering, I think it'll be a very good combination. Okay, we'll move on, and you can keep putting whatever you think or questions that come in your mind in the chat. But there is a simple truth which you may have heard: as I am, so is my nation. If I tell lies, then is there any wonder that there is corruption in the country? If I keep away from some person, some colleague, then is there any wonder that there is division between communities in India or religions even? If I am not able to rein in my passions, then is there any wonder that there is so much sexual abuse in this country, rapes which are unspeakably cruel, abductions, sex slavery, etc. And that is a very big issue that I'm sorry to say again, as an outsider, Indians prefer not to talk about and not even admit that there is anything wrong in anyone. And for me, I'll just personalize this. For me, the biggest change came in my life at the age of 20 when I burnt dirty books, dirty photos that I constantly was absorbed in, and was totally honest with my parents about the things I'd already done by the age of 20 in the neighborhood. This was not easy. It took me 3 months to tell every secret of my life to my parents. And that was the turning point for my life. a whole new chapter, a whole new uh, expanse of thinking opened up for me, which was not there before. Earlier, the consideration was only getting my own career, which was well on its way, established, getting, settled in Fiji, buying a glass bottom motorboat, and spending my weekends on the, you know, beaches of Fiji, etc. And I expect I would have had it by now. But when I became free of this great drive in me as a young man at that time, the hormonal hurricane that was within me, when I could tame it somewhat, I'm not saying I'm a perfect man, temptations still do come, but I have been able to become free of that and think in ways which I had not thought was possible, including envisaging um, a lifetime of working without salary for society. Uh, and you may ask, and I'd be very happy to tell you more later, but society has looked after me and my family. I have two daughters and two grandchildren now, and happily, God has looked after them. So, anyway, I feel this is so important to begin to face the reality about ourselves, that if you want to see change, then be the change. Um, Now, I'll just make one or two more comments and then I will ask Nitesh to share. And Nitesh has also at one point said that he would like to look at a Zarurat Adharit Jeevan Shaili, a need based way of life, just answering your needs. And the implication is that there is readiness to share beyond what I need. So, from that sort of thing, I draw a conclusion. To live, you have to earn money. But to love, you have to earn friends. To live life, earn money. To love life, earn friends. And Einstein said a very important thing. Not everything that counts can be counted. And then he adds, not everything that can be counted, money, counts.
Very true, sir.
Hmm.
So there are two comments,
Yes,
or
yes.
rather questions, in
Huh.
the chat box.
Sorry, I
And
have.
everything that you have said relates so well to teachers. If I may borrow the statement of Vijayam ma'am, the teachers are nation builders. So what you are saying is what we do reflects in the nation. As I am, so is the nation. But we are the ones who are building the future. So it's not just reflection today, it's we are impacting future generations. So we leave a very huge impact. So we could seriously relate to everything that you have said. I hope you could read the questions in the chat box. Would you like to answer them first? Should I read out for you?
Yes, please, please.
Okay. Ms. Paramjeet says, with reference to a statement you made some time back, sorry, sir, but I want to say that when a baby is born in a great family, then the baby has her or his parents' name behind as well. For example, Abhishek Bachchan or Rahul Gandhi and others. I think this is with reference to the statement you made about we are
Yeah.
just born, as a yes, sir.
So I agree. Of course, the circumstance of your birth determines quite a bit, but it does not determine your character. That I mean, somewhere I don't know whether I mentioned it. I wrote down: you can have Sainya Bal, Arthik Bal, but then there is Charitra Bal, which makes a nation strong. Not just economic or military might, but might of character, the quality of its people, the compassion in its people. That, I think, is the real whatever you call it, factor for determining a nation's health, its development index.
Right, sir. We
Okay.
all got a very beautiful answer. And what I understand is character building is an internal work.
Mm.
So the family might have an influence, but ultimately it's one person's inside job to work on our character. So Mr. Pushpendra would like to know, as you are working as an honorary social worker, how do you sustain?
Uh, Very, very good question. I will be very brief. Gandhi said, if you serve nature, nature will look after you. I would extrapolate that and say, if you serve society, society will look after you. Now, I've not done anything very great for society, but for 55 years, uh, people have, very kindly given when I've needed, looked after my family's needs also. And it so happens that my daughters, who I could never have hoped to have put through university in Australia and New Zealand, we were living in Fiji then, by God's grace, got very good scholarships from Australia and New Zealand. And in fact, they saved money from it to give to us. Uh, but it's been a series of what they say in English, where God guides, He provides, and where you serve, you are served. So that is in short, but I'd be very happy sometime to talk more with you if you wish. Now, somebody has put in a very important question, Radha Prasad: how to purify our character? And Radhaji, you have really identified why Jaya Parekh has set me loose on all of you. And this is what uh, we are involved in, using our own experience to try and inspire change in others. And now I'll just preface what Nitesh is going to share with some thoughts. Now, it is said, to be at peace, you need to have a clear conscience. And someone has quoted, a clear, clean conscience is the best pillow. So Nitesh will soon illustrate for you that the best way of clearing your conscience is to have a strict scrutiny of one's life with a pool, PHUL, purity, honesty, unselfishness, love. And we have to review our lives to renew them. Or, in other words, live it to give it. So, now may I ask a young man from near Chakradharpur, from a village actually, very simple home, Nitesh Kumar Mahato, um, who is a talented young man, to share through his story and a demonstration how to purify your character. Nitesh?
नमस्ते नितेश जी, स्वागत है आपका.
Namaste. Thank you, Jaya ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, how to purify our character? This was the question. ये सवाल ऐसा था जो मैं खुद भी पूछा करता था कि अपने चरित्र को कैसे प्यूरिफाई करें. And before purifying or before correcting, the most difficult part I faced is admitting and accepting that there is something to purify within me. Because I was like this. Can you see the flower vase? Okay.
थोड़ा और
So,
आगे लाना.
Okay.
Camera.
So, like this flower vase, people's perspective about me was like, नीतीश तो मेहनती लड़का है, नीतीश ने संघर्ष करके आगे किया है, नीतीश बहुत अच्छा लड़का है, नीतीश बहुत आगे तक जाएगा, बहुत नाम कमाएगा, etc etc. And when this came to me, that change start, from within. I was like, oh, sorry, this line is not for me. It's like, there
नितेश
is
जी,
nothing.
आपकी
Yes,
आवाज उतनी ज्यादा अच्छे से नहीं आ रही है, लाउड नहीं आ रही है, तो
okay.
आप एक बार चेक
Yes.
कीजिएगा कि स्पीकर वॉल्यूम एक बार बढ़ सकता है तो बढ़ा दीजिए. And also we were not able to look at
Okay.
the vase clearly.
Okay.
Please
So
take your
now
time.
can you hear me?
थोड़ा ऊंचा करो.
Can you? Am I audible properly now?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay.
हाँ,
Yes.
थोड़ा
Keep it a
ऊंचा
little
और उठा के रखो, बस.
ठीक है. Okay.
Thank you.
So when I was challenged कि बदलाव की शुरुआत खुद से होती है और स्वयं में बदलाव करना पड़ता है, I was like कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं होता है. There is nothing in me to change. I was like, look, this is how I look, a beautiful person, with people tell me about myself that I'm a very hard working, बहुत संघर्ष करता हूँ वगैरह वगैरह. So I was like that. But Suresh uncle mentioned about those 4 values, PHUL. So whenever I just, even heard those PHUL, I was like, something was going within me. Look, Nitesh, something is not right. Okay, you should look with ये जो 4 चीजें हैं, 4 फूल हैं, 4 values, इनमें कुछ देखना चाहिए तुम्हें. And I was like, okay, let's see, let's face. And the most difficult part was, like I said, the admitting and accepting that there is something to purify within me. And to look within me, I have to like put out these flowers, this mask that I was carrying. Then only I can look within me that it's there to, purify. So when I was, taking out these flowers, my ego came. And it was like कि अरे ठीक है ना, कुछ गलत होगा भी तो उतना तो चलता है आज के जमाने में, है ना, उतना तो it's okay. And then that line came, that thought came, that भविष्य के भवन का निर्माण भूत के खंडहरों पर नहीं हो सकती है. So you have to like clean the ruins and फिर से फाउंडेशन डाल के, फिर से बुनियाद डाल के, फिर से शुरू से हम घर को बना सकते हैं. तो भविष्य के भवन का निर्माण तभी खड़ा कर सकते हैं, उन खंडहरों पे नहीं. And that, helped me to take out all these masks, that beauties that I was thinking that there is nothing wrong in me. So when I took out all, mask I was carrying, and I started reflecting within me, I scanned my life through those 4 values: purity, honesty, unselfishness, and love. I found something in my life. First, I found money. Money just it starts from my childhood, that I am not a right person, because in my childhood I used to steal money from my parents, and I used to use them in very different way. वो दोस्तों के साथ पार्टियां करना, इधर उधर खर्चे करना, and after coming home I was lying to them. मैं उन्हें झूठ बोल रहा था. So when I realized that was the first mistake I did, तो पहला तो बड़ी मुश्किल थी कि उसको एडमिट करना कि मैंने गलत किया है. अब दूसरा था कि मैंने मान तो लिया मैंने गलती की है, पर इसकी प्रायश्चित कैसे करूं, ये दूसरी मुश्किल मेरे सामने खड़ी हुई थी. एंड द वॉइस विद इन मी टोल्ड मी दैट गो टू योर पेरेंट्स एंड टेल देम कि तुम ऐसा करते थे. सो दिस वाज द फर्स्ट प्रायश्चित आई डिड अबाउट मनी. And that money thing not only was there in my childhood, but when I was in college, I was doing my engineering, I was there the manager of my hostel mess, and there I had to like deal with the money. So when I was dealing the money, I was also taking money for my uses also from the hostel mess. And that money, I was like I was very much again I was not admitting that was my fault. हम लोग बहुत जल्दी जस्टिफाई कर देते हैं हमारी गलतियों की, हाँ ऐसा ही किए थे ना, इसकी वजह से काम अच्छा था हमारा. So I was also justifying it. But one of my friends, a very close friend, he said ki, no, this is wrong, and he said to the administration that I was stealing money. And I was so angry with him. And this, when I was reflecting within me, this chili I found. So it was the anger that was caring for that friend. I was like कि no, तुम गलत थे, मैं गलत नहीं था, तुम्हें मेरी दोस्ती तोड़नी नहीं चाहिए थी, तुम्हें मेरे बारे बताना नहीं चाहिए था. And I, like it happens in engineering colleges, ग्रुप बना करके उसके कभी मारपीट करना वगैरह वगैरह ये सब करता रहा था. And when I realized that it was my mistake, when I admitted it, the voice within me told me to कि apologize, माफी मांगो उस दोस्त से. I called him. I said that was my mistake and I was carrying the hatred. I was angry and it was totally my mistake. So मैंने वहां माफी मांगी. ये दूसरी प्रायश्चित थी. तीसरा, again when I was looking more deeply into my life, so like here गलती जल्दी निकलती नहीं है हमारी. तो एक और गलती मुझे मिली. And can you see? ये कुछ वेब जैसा दिखाई दे रहा है, स्पाइडर वेब. ओके, सो जैसे एक मकड़ी जाला बुनती है, एक वेब क्रिएट करती है ताकि कोई उसमें कोई मक्खी कोई कीड़ा फंस जाए. तो लाइक दैट आई वाज क्रिएटिंग ए वेब फॉर ए गर्ल कि वो मेरे ये में फंस जाए. मैं प्यार के नाम का एक झूठा वेब तैयार कर रहा था कि वो लड़की मेरे प्यार में फंस जाए. And I was using all the methods like using her friends, the lies about myself, the lies about my family, the lies about my education, the lies about my skills, talents, everything, कि वो किसी तरह से वो मेरे प्यार में आ जाए. और ऐसा नहीं कि मैं सच में प्यार करता था, ताकि मैं दोस्तों को दिखा सकूं कि देखो मैंने उस लड़की के पीछे पड़ा था और मैंने उसे फंसा लिया. So that was the thing I was doing by creating a web. When I realized, when I was scanning through this, I found that that was totally my mistake and I actually tried to spoil her life. So again, अगर गलती की है, पश्चाताप है, तो प्रायश्चित करना है. And I called her and एक एक करके मैंने जहां जहां भी झूठ बोला था उसे बताया. She was completely in tears and she just asked me कि ऐसा तुमने क्यों किया. And मेरे पास सॉरी कहने के लिए कोई सॉरी कहने के अलावा और कोई शब्द नहीं थे. It was difficult first to accept, admit my mistakes, and then the other difficult thing was to correct them, correct those mistakes. So when I took out all those mistakes, I was like, okay, now I am good. I corrected my mistakes. I purified somewhat and thought ki like now my life is like this, clean glass. Like अब मैं साफ सुथरा हूं. But is it really clean? क्या ये साफ दिख रहा है? बिल्कुल भी नहीं. ये गंदगियों से भरा हुआ है. ये डर्ट्स थे और ये वो गलतियां थी जिनके बारे में बात करने में खुद से भी मतलब शर्म महसूस करता था. दूसरों को तो बताना दूर की बात है, अपने आप को भी बताने में शर्म महसूस करता था. ये वो गंदगियां थी. और ये गंदगियां कहां से स्टार्ट हो रही थी? द सेक्सुअल डिजायर्स दैट आई हैड, एंड दैट सेक्सुअल डिजायर्स लेड मी टू get addicted with the porn and those adult videos. And what was the result? Like after that I was involved in such illegal affairs and I was doing such wrong things with girls that I can't even express, and I was ashamed of what I was doing, and all of that because of my sexual desires and the addiction I had. So how then the answer is like कि how to deal with it, how to face it, and how to overcome with it. ऐसा नहीं था कि मुझे ऐसी इसी गंदगी में रहना था, मुझे भी लगता था कि साफ तो करना है मुझे जीवन को अपना, मुझे वो गलतियां हुई है मुझसे, उन्हें सुधारना है मुझे, तो कैसे करेंगे? तो आंसर वाज देयर अगेन in the water. So the water in this jug is the quiet time we call the time to listen the voice within. Because I found कि the voice that is within always, check myself, check the thoughts that I am having, and it corrects me. Most of the time I used to ignore them. Like हमारे जब एंड्रॉयड मोबाइल्स हम यूज करते हैं तो जैसे ही कोई थर्ड पार्टी ऐप आता है ना तो फट से एक पॉपअप आता है कि दिस ऐप और दिस फाइल इज हार्मफुल फॉर योर डिवाइस. So it was like that. I found कि every time that voice was there saying कि this thing is harmful for you, I was ignoring it. So then this quiet time practice, like listening to that voice continuously, helped me to take out these dirts from my life. How? Like this water. So as I was taking the quiet time and as I was listening to those voices, slowly it was, धीरे धीरे ये साफ हो रहा था. But if I stop taking quiet time, stop listening to my voice, जैसे यहाँ पर रुक गया तो फिर से मैल धीरे धीरे, फिर से गंदगी धीरे धीरे वो वापस अपनी पैठ जमा रही थी, वापस उसी में बैठ जा रही थी. So ये I found this as a continuous process. कोई एक ऐसा मंत्र नहीं कि आपने कर लिया और उसके बाद आप बुद्ध या विवेकानंद बन गए. I found कि ये एक लगातार निरंतर प्रक्रिया है जहां पर you listen to your inner voice, you follow it, and then it guides you in proper direction. How it guided me? It's not like I'm completely pure now, but it helps me to check my thoughts and it helps me to channelize those energies to do something good for the society. Now, I was also, questioning the same thing to Suresh uncle ki, how is it possible that you think for the society and society takes care for you? In just 2 years, I have experienced that where God guides, if you listen to the voice, then there is that voice is of God. It guides you, and where God guides, it provides. Nowadays, I am working in the Naxalite affected district in Jharkhand. So I am working with a local organization for the education of tribal children, and this is coming from because of the guidance I am getting. Otherwise, there are many voices telling me to just go and find some way to earn money. But the voice within me telling me to not only helping me to make a better person, but also it's guiding me to help the society. So yeah, thank you, uncle.
Let's just sorry. Let's just pause for a moment or two, see if there's any message from this glass that Mitesh showed us. Let us be silent for just a few moments. Thank you. Radha Prasad again has put in a very important comment or observation, and this is what we must look at now: how to get the enthusiasm and motivation to move on the path of purified character. as it is depressing and demotivating to bear the guilt of our bad habits, as doing bad habits gives us some pleasure, which pulls us more and more towards it. Radhaji, this is what this session is, what it is about. I think each of us, if we honestly look within, we will find the thread that we must catch hold of and then keep moving towards greater change. So pick the thread of change today through identifying even one wrong that you have done that you will correct, say sorry for, or be honest about. I returned money I had stolen. That was one of the first things. And library books I had stolen. So I was doing bookkeeping of sorts. But start with something small and you will advance. And this is where something which I did not bring in, but Nitesh brought in. And the way to change yourself is through listening to your inner voice. And so, I mean, each one of us may not have come with a certificate of some sort attached to our toe. We all came with an implant in us which can listen to the maker of the universe. Most of us don't do it. We keep, on the whole, most of the day, listening to voices from outside us. So, if you want real change from tomorrow, try at least for 1 week, and then you can see if you want to continue or not. 20 minutes minimum with notebook and pen in silence. And then you will find that you will be increasing your spiritual vocabulary through change experiences. And second way of getting inspiration is, of course, from nature. Nature is actually silent. Get inspiration from it. And a Catherine Dunham said, go within every day and find the inner strength so that the world will not blow your candle out. Now, our inner candles may be very tiny or flickering, in danger of extinction, but through listening to the inner voice regularly, you will find the flame will go brighter. And the flame will go brighter as it burns away the dirt that may be seen by it. So it will feed on the dirt and become brighter. And I believe each one has to do the work to add meaning to their life. And how do you add meaning? I believe the best way is to keep listening to your inner voice. The more we listen to the inner voice, the more meaning we will find in life. And so with notebook and pen, don't do it just in the air. With notebook and pen, keep noting down in your 20 minutes what the inner voice tells you to do. Now, are there any comments or questions further to this? I hope, Radhaji, some clarification, because I'm sure we're not meant to feel guilty about ourselves. Yes, we need to make an honest assessment of ourselves. And that is where a proper scrutiny on these four values, purity, honesty, unselfishness, love, will show us ourselves in our inner mirror as we really are. The mirror of our soul. How do we look there? And once we identify that, then we can take away the blemishes and the dirt. So everybody can become free, provided they will be willing to do so. Willing to be totally honest about themselves, their own failures, their weaknesses, which often are kept hidden. Can we begin to be more open society? Democracy implies accountability and openness. Can we be truly democratic in the spiritual sense also? Open. And I think everyone, even me, needs to find the next step of change and growth. And how will you find out? Only from within and possibly from nature. So, can we? You're right, Gregory. The inner voice can speak anywhere, can speak anywhere, in a storm or in total silence in a forest. Uh, so now we'll end soon. Happy for you that we will be ending. Uh, but just to say uh, or suggest, can we now be silent? And if you have notebook and pen near you, we'll spend 3 minutes in total silence trying to listen to this inner voice. Go beyond the mind and inwardly to your heart and to your soul. And ask your soul, what are two things you need to become totally honest about today? And are there two people at least who you need to say sorry to for something that you have done which you may not have acknowledged? So, can we just be silent for 3 minutes and each one to uh, pick up the thread of change? Or if you've already picked up the thread of change, what is the next knot that you have to untie in that thread? So, let's be silent. Thank you. Uh, can you then, in the chat, Just say yes or no if you've had, in response to whether you have had some thought to correct yourself. Two things to be honest about, two people possibly to say sorry to. Wow. All your vocabulary is so limited, you don't even advance to no. It's only yes. Okay, you can continue putting yes or no, whatever. But now, second challenge. In the next 24 hours, action these. In the next 24 hours, put this right. And I promise you that if ever you felt guilty about yourself, your own uh, character or whatever, I hope not. But if there is any guilt, that guilt will wash away. And then maybe some other time we can do another session. What do you do to use this experience to help others become free? So, or rather, I'll just cover it quickly here. That mm, these we do so that we can then, rather than lecture people or sermon preach to people, you just share this. You can say to anyone, once you win their trust, say, I have learned to find change through correcting my wrongs. So this is a process of change through correction. Prayashchit se parivartan. Uh, my book is called Beyond Walls in English. It is this actually the story like Nitesh's of 90 people, the English one. But together with Nitesh, last year we have printed a Hindi edition with 100 stories, 100 people stories from all over the world of every religion, etc. Um, so that is called Prayashchit Se Parivartan in Hindi. Those copies are available, and maybe through Jayaji we can get you copies. Pushpendra again has an important comment. Fixing a wrongdoing takes a just with a small initiative, baby steps. Least I can do. Yes, this baby is going to grow into a big adult. So thank you very much, everyone. I don't think I'm just a naughty quote. Many of us go to forums to get our questions answered. The Quakers, who believe in silence, say instead, come and have your answers questioned. Thank you very, very much.
It seems I have lost my voice. And thank you so much. It truly was an exploration, and not just for an hour. I'm sure it is going to go on and on for a very long time, as it must. Thank you to Mr. Nitesh also for joining us. And what a brilliant story of transformation, so courageously that you have lived and today you have shared with us. It was totally metaphorical in so many ways. Thanks for the analogy through the glass experiment. It was beautiful. It's time for us to reflect. And I would say it's not just about knowing whether we are going to be whether we are the right Indian citizens or the kind of people that India needs. I would say it's all about, are we the right kind of human being as global citizens? And I loved the concept of using the yardstick of the four absolute standards of purity, honesty, and selfishness and love. So we don't need any external agency to come and do an audit for our character. It's all about the internal work, starting from observing quiet time on a regular basis. What Sir has suggested is 20 minutes of quiet time every day, sitting with pen and paper so that the thoughts are promptly noted down, doing a conscious introspection and inner listening of the inner voice. Also, Sir has highlighted one point. it was either sir or Nitesh ji, which we must be very conscious of. There could be several voices from within, and you should be able to distinguish between that inner voice from the voices of selfishness, etc., which try to justify the actions. So that is also very important. This is a dilemma I have faced in the beginning when I started understanding and applying the concept of quiet time in my personal life. So moving from there, using this connection with our inner voice, moving to correction, and then finding a direction out of that, the CCD route. It is so brilliantly explained by both of you, sir. It was a fantastic experiment. I'm sure you are reading the responses and the comments from our listeners today. They all are thanking you. And yes, I agree with Dr. Sangeeta that sir has given such beautiful quotes. Every other statement, sir, you were saying was a quote which all of us should put before us and keep following in our life. Thank you for this insightful